Okay, today's Daf 66, Zevachim. So we're towards the top. It says, Mitzah Dam HaGuf. The Mishnah teaches that if the priest squeezed out the blood of the head and did not squeeze out the blood of the body of the bird, so then it is disqualified. Okay? Tanur Rabbanan, the rabbis taught as follows. Oila, and we're talking about the Oila Sa'oif. So the Oila, it says Oilahu. So Oilahu comes to add Oila Afal Pi Shemitzadam Haguf V'lo Mitzadam Haroish. Means that even if you squeezed out only the blood of the body of the bird, but not from the head of the bird, it's still going to be considered an Ola. Yochol Mitzadam Haroish V'lo Mitzadam Haguf. What if you squeeze the blood of the head, but not from the body of the bird? So then you might think it's also an Ola. Talmud Laimar who is exclusionary, means that one is going to be not an Ola, only the other one. My Talmud, how do you know that? What's your derivation? Amravina Mistabra, it's common sense. The Rov Damin Beguf Shchichi, because most of the blood is Beguf, and therefore, if you do most, it makes sense that you be Yoitze, and if not, no. Hadronach Kosher Kosher. So Mishnah Chatas Ha'oif She'oso Lemato. Now Chatas Ha'oif has to be done Lemato. So let's say you did it Lemato. Kamaisa Chatas, you did it with appropriate regulations with the Chatas. Shem Chatas, with the intent of a Chatas. Kshero is good. Kamaisa Chatas or Shem Oilo. What if you did it the proper procedure, but you said that you were doing it for the sake of an Ola? Or Kamaisa Oilo L'Shem Chatas. Or the problem is that you did it in the manner of an Ola, which, what could that mean? It could mean that, for example, that maybe you cut both, you separated, which means you, according to Rashi, you cut both pipes, the esophagus and the trachea, as opposed to only one. But if that's true, then we're saying not like Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, because Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon holds that by Chatas, if you did that, it would still be valid. So it wouldn't really be a distinction. So then, according to that, if you want to say it's according to Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, this section of this Mishnah, then you'd have to say that it's referring to elevating it above the Chut HaSikra. Anyways, weiter, we'll deal with that in the Gemara Mitzvah. Kamaise Oila L'Shem Oila. So what if you did the Chatz Oif under the procedures of an Ola, and for the sake of an Ola? Psula, it's no good. Also, lemalo k'maisa kulan. What if you did the chuta? You did the sprinkling of the blood above the chuta sikra, and you did the maisa kulan, means you did any whatever procedure you did. It's psula. It's no good. So oilas ha'oif she'oso lemalo. If you did an oilas ha'oif and you did it above, meaning where it's the place where it normally is done. Kamaisa Oila L'Shem Oila, and you did the proper procedure and the proper intention. Ksher, it's good. Kamaisa Oila L'Shem Chatas. What if you did the procedure of an Oila, but you said that you're doing it for the sake of a Chatas? Ksher, it's valid. Ubiwa Shalom also the Baaleo, but it's not going to be Yoitze the Baalim. But it's still a kosher korban. Kamaisa Chatas L'Shem Oila. What if you took the Oila Sa'oif and did it with the procedure of a Chatas, but for the sake of an Ola, or Kamaisa Chatas L'Shem Chatas, or you did the procedure of a Chatas and for the sake of a Chatas, Psula, it's no good. Also, Lemato, what if you sprinkled, you did below, meaning that you did whatever you did below the Chut HaSikra. Now, with Oila, you're not supposed to do Hazah. But so let's say you did the squeezing below the Chut HaSikra. Also lamato, k'maisa kulan psula. Doesn't matter what you did. If you did below the Chut HaSikra, then if you sacrificed it below the red line, we have to see what that means exactly. Rashi says k'maisa echod mikol elu va'afilu k'maisa oila l'shem oila. So, in other words, you're supposed to do the squeezing of the blood above the Chut HaSikra, not below, and that seems to be the main problem as far as the problem with going below. Maybe the Malika, I think the Malika technically could be done anywhere, so that's not the problem, it's the squeezing the blood. But in any event, we go weiter. Next Amud. So it's the Shani B'mai. How is it that you made a modification? We say that you changed it. Rashi says, Akemaise oila l'shem chatos. In other words, you took the chatos oif and you did it with the procedure of an oila for the sake of a chatos. What is the procedure of an oila that you did? We talked about this before. What exactly did you do like an ola? So perhaps cutting off the bird's head, maybe you did like an ola, you cut off both tubes, the trachea and esophagus. So then then you have to say that this part of the Mishnah is going not like Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon, because he would hold that that's not a distinction between oil and chatas, because it's kosher b'chatzoif. Fine, so that's one possibility, that we say it's not like Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. V'lo kimno de lok Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. But then we already established in the earlier Mishnah that we're not going like Rabbi Elazar Rabbi Shimon. So presumably that's already a known thing. So the Gemara, I believe, is trying to say that that we should say that it's something else that's teaching us is what was done differently. So Gemara says, "La deshani behazah." So Gemara gives you a different answer. Says, that's not it. It's not that you did melik of the both simonim, but rather you made a change by hazah. In other words, how do you do a change by hazah? Rashi says, I feel like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. You could say that our Mishnah is going even like Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov. You made a change, but something that even he would agree is a change. Something other. The Shani Bazah, Rashi says, Shelo ella mitzo shamitzu hi avodas hayolo. In other words, your change was that you skipped hazah. You skipped hazah. And Ola doesn't have hazah. You took a chatzah, but you skipped hazah. That was the difference that you did. Hachinami mistabra, and that it makes sense. Miktani seifa, because look at the seifa. It says also lemala kemaisa kulan psula. This makes sense that we're talking about hazah in general by the Mishnah when we're talking about making changes, because we learned Miktani seifa also lemala kemaisa kulan. If you did above the chuta sikra, like any of these, psula is pasul. In other words, if you take chatzah, which is supposed to be below, you did above, in any other, with any procedure, it's going to be pasul. Why? If you look at ma'aseh chatos, l'shem chatos, why? Even if you did a ma'aseh chatos, the procedure of a chatos, for the sake of a chatos, just because you do it above chuta sikra, it's going to be no good. The shani b'mai, what is it that you changed that made it no good? Ilema the shani melika. If you want to say that the problem is that you changed the malika, that you did both simonim, cut both simonim instead of one. Hamar mar malika v'chol makom b'mizbeach shera. We said that malika. I'm sorry, that when you popped the head, that you did it in a different location. So then, but it doesn't matter, because really it's kosher in any location. So that's not really a problem. Elolav deshani b'hazah. So the problem is the hazah, the sprinkling. So you see the sprinkling you did above. That's the you did above, meaning that you what did you do by moving it above? You changed it by above. The shani eza avoida lemala also. What do you above? The mamar kavichaza. So it has to be with regards to what did he priest change the location of the procedure. If we say that he changed by pinching, performing above the red line, it doesn't make any difference. It's valid anywhere. Rather, have to do with sprinkling. Change the location of the sprinkling. Now, instead of sprinkling below, now he sprinkled above. And since the ruling of the latter clause is stated with regards to sprinkling, by inference, the ruling of the first clause is also stated with sprinkling. We're wondering in the beginning if it was had to do with sprinkling or with the shchita or whatever, the cutting two simanim. We see that later, at the later place, it's talking about sprinkling, so we're assuming that therefore the earlier place is also talking about sprinkling. To be continued.